Oh boy. Give me him. There you go. That's all right. You teach him right. Hey everybody, it's Robert Earl out here at the Eco Ranch Sustainable Living Education Center here in far west Texas with, of course, Cascade the Wonder Dog. And here's a surprise, a happy one. This is Sherman, the one-eyed toothless dog. Sherman had his cancer surgery a couple days ago, and he is back. Probably going to have the cancer come back, but it might buy him enough time to outlive it. Here's his scar, right there. Took off a great big skin cancer tumor. He looked like he got it all, but probably didn't. So it'll come back. We have plans for that. Sherman's 9 years old, and I know everybody that's been here and met him is pulling for him to be okay. He's 9 years old. If it comes back, we can fight it off and probably fight it off till he's 13. These dogs don't live much past 14 at best, so he has an excellent chance of outliving the cancer. He'll die of old age before the cancer will kill him. So he's here, he's happy, and I got some other good news to tell you about, including a bit about the final results on the Great Meat Bird experiment. But let me put these two back where they belong first. Okay, well, notice where I am. I'm in the nursery. This is the nursery that we specifically built to raise chicks up to slaughter size or size to release. Now, Debbie and I have made a lot of changes in what we're going to do around here, mainly because of our advancing age, but also because in this area there's a lot of the people do not appreciate what we're trying to do. Those that do, and some of you, bellowing chicken. Some of you are out there watching these videos. I'm not talking about you. But it's just not worth it for us to raise, 1,000 chickens a year and have 50 dozen eggs a week. It just isn't worth it. So we're toning back on quite a bit of that. But still, we are going to have to raise laying hens. We are going to have to raise meat chickens. And the next meat chickens, the second half of the experiment, are coming August 30th. I believe it's, gosh, I don't know the date today. It's Sunday. I think it's the 13th. Anyway, they're coming on the 30th. They'll be the Cornish Cross Frankenbirds that we're going to raise up. And I'll have really good numbers. But right now, I don't even want to give you the Cornish Cross estimates because, first of all, Cornish Crosses shouldn't be raised over 5,000 feet of altitude. We're at 3,200. That's going to affect them. We're starting out in the heat, which I think is good, but the temperature is going to drop below 100 in mid-September. They're going to carry out and grow until October. They'll have the benefit of the cooler weather that the first birds did not have. The first birds were fighting the heat, trying to grow, and that might have affected their growth. So everything's tilted in favor of the Frankenbirds. I'll tell you that up front now, but you'll have to watch for part 4. This is part 3.5. I got some figures in my back pocket so I don't stumble around because I don't want this to be a real long video for a change. So what we had, it turned out we had 311 birds sent to us. Now, we had 8 that died, and then we turned a number of them loose. Some we thought were hens, we're still not sure. Some of the roosters that we just loved, including one called Orphy. You'll probably see us talking to Orphy in the future. He is a buff Orpington, probably, and I got to tell you, I showed chickens briefly, and I have 1 best in show and 3 best in breeds, so I know a bit about show chickens. Orphy looks to me to be a showstopper, a winner, so we'll see how he turns out. But anyway, so we had 263 birds that we processed between what we turned loose and what died. 263 birds. That gave us 868 pounds of bird on the hoof, in other words, live birds. Now, from those live birds, we were able to put 509 pounds of meat in the freezer. That's chicken, either whole chickens or chicken legs with bone in it, remember, thighs, not the pure meat. But I have to put the caveat on that, and I've said this before in the other videos, but it's worth saying because somebody, I'm hoping that a few people have wandered by just because the keywords led them there. When I dress a bird, first of all, I skin the bird. All the skin, all the feathers comes off. I don't know what the skin weighs, 3 ounces maybe? Whatever, but the skin comes off. So do the wrists, that last section of wing. I don't think anybody ever eats that. I've heard of people that do it. Nobody eats it, I take it off. I also take off that back tail area around the anus. Nobody eats the tail. Now, my mother used to tell a story about her mother and my father fighting over the tail of the bird. I don't think either one of them liked it. They just liked fighting with each other. At any rate, nobody eats the tail, nobody eats the wrist. The skin Debbie doesn't like. We don't like organs, and we had so many birds that unfortunately we had to throw most of the organs away. We did save about 15 pounds of them to make dog food out of. No organs and no neck. Now that's how I dress a bird out. Dressing a bird my way, you put 509 pounds of meat, of bird, in the freezers. Had I done it the way they do in the stores, leaving all those things on, including the skin, sticking a neck and a couple giblets in there, and shooting it full of 12% broth, and sticking it on that wet diaper, already wet diaper, and then weighing the whole thing, it would have cost, I would have had 40% more weight. I figured that one out. I would have had 40% more weight than my 509 pounds. This is good, edible chicken. The only waste on it is that center of the backbone. Okay, the average carcass, when I cleaned them my way, first of all, the average bird, the average live bird weighed 3 1/4 pounds. Remember, they are roosters, they are supposed to be fryers, they're not going to be a big roaster. 3 1/4 pounds. The average carcass doing it my way was 2 pounds. Now the cost to raise these birds was $4.94 a bird. That's all the feed, the Ziploc bags I put them in, anything that was directly related to the cost of getting the birds, including fuel, my gasoline for the generator when I had to run the heat lamps all night, and gasoline for the truck to go up and get feed. $4.94 per live bird. When you divide that, when you dress that out that way per pound, it came to $2.53 a pound. Oh, but wait, I can get them for $2.50 a pound in the store, all natural birds. Yeah, and you might be able to get so-called organic for the same price. I did these my way. I have a better taste, I'm sure. And we'll see when we do the blind taste test. Now, after the sales that I had, because we sold about 70 birds, our net cost for the 509 pounds we did put in the freezer, Debbie and my net, we didn't put 509 in the freezer. That 509 included the ones we sold. I don't have an amount for what we put in the freezer. My guess is it'd be somewhere around 390 pounds. After we sold the birds, the net cost for all the birds dropped to $1.71 a pound. That's very doable, and I, right now, based on what I just said, would encourage each and every one of you to look into growing and raising your own birds. If you're doing 20 at a time, if you're doing 15 at a time, but do it economically, do it the way I've showed you here, do it the way I'm going to do in the book and the book, and if I do a DVD in the DVD, but it'll be in the book definitely. That book will be a how-to on everything. If you've never raised a chicken in your life, you'll be able to raise the chicken from the book. But I would definitely encourage you to do that. Now, because there are some naysayers and trolls out there that have nothing more to do in their mother's basement than to do some mathematics. Cornish cross Franken birds, the average feed to weight gain ratio is about 3 pounds of feed for every 1 pound of live bird on the hoof. My ratio was, I didn't write it down here. It was 3.14. Maybe a little higher than that. What it was about 14% higher than 3 to 1. So it was 3.1, no more than 3.2. Excellent feed to weight gain ratio. And you save a lot of resources by not having the 2 sets of birds that make the Cornish crosses out here in the hatchery, eating food and fuel, or eating food, having the fuel to keep them warm or keep them fenced in, and all that stuff. You've got hatchery byproducts, and okay, female, male. We saved them at least for 8 weeks. In my case, 12. At 3 to 1. Which I won't get 3 to 1 here. I guarantee you it's going to be a little bit higher than that, or it'll probably be a little higher than that. Let's just put it that way. But using that figure, my birds cost 14% more overall with all the costs in it, my true costs, than what my estimate based on what everybody is getting. Probably Joel Salatin out in Pennsylvania where he's got cooler weather and beautiful grass, but 14% higher. Still very doable for the Taste of the Bird. So far I've got nothing but reviews on the Taste of the Bird. And that's the numbers for right now. And I do, if you're a regular viewer here, a regular follower of the Eco Ranch, I am gonna come back after I say goodbye, and I've got a message for you guys specially. Now that just means everybody's going to listen to this, but you can cut it off when I say goodbye if you're not a regular viewer, or if you're for some reason one of those people that keeps those 4 or 5 that keep saying, "Oh, thumbs down on every video he does." Hey, if you don't like the pink shirt, that's not a thumbs down. It's just a fashion statement. Anyway, you can tell I feel a lot better. What is the word? Ebullient? Something like that. Anyway, Sherman is going to get better. The chickens turned out perfectly. I was able to finish the rest of them yesterday. I feel great. Everything's going well, except for one thing. We're going to talk about that after I say goodbye. But please, if you watched this so far on part 3.5, 4, 5, and 6 are going to be absolutely excellent. I'll tell you about how to order the book when it comes out. It'll be an ebook also, maybe a DVD, but an ebook definitely, and a regular book. Tell you how to order that in part 6. And that's it. I got to clean this place up and get ready for the 50 Cornish crosses. So until then, it's Robert Earl, minus Sherman the one-eyed toothless dog who's healthy, and everybody else out here saying, until next time, from the Eco Ranch Sustainable Living Education Center in Far West, Texas. See you later. All right, what I've done is put you right in the wind, and I apologize. I might have to pull you out of the wind in a second, but this is only going to be a couple minutes, real short and sweet for those of you who have been following us and have supported us, and I thank you for all of that. I said everything's been going great except for one thing. Old 300K here has got 300,000 miles on it, and she's finally sucked the valve on me. I had an opportunity to pick up a couple of tons of donated feed for the ranch here, and I have no way of driving it. I would have had to go to south of San Antonio, with a trailer and picked it up, and I don't think 300K could do it anymore with the sucked valve. We're not going to replace the engine. It's reliable to go to Alpine and back, reliable around here, but it's no longer reliable, and I need a rescue vehicle, which is the reason why I'm making this little addendum. Let me pull you out of there, I think there's less wind here. You know, one of the mantras that we have around here is walk the talk or shut the hell up and go home. Well, it's pretty hard to walk the talk when you got a vehicle that gets 17 miles to the gallon. Happen to need a pickup truck, so we have to put up with that when we need it. But for me to be driving around doing little errands, it hasn't worked out real good anyway. The problem is an electric car nowadays, unless it's a Tesla, an electric car only has a range of about 90 miles, 110 miles. Well, I got to go 130 round trip to Alpine, and twice I have to go over a big hill where the vertical climb is about, I think, 600 or 700 feet. It's quite a strain on 300K, and it would suck up a battery. So I do have something in the works through sponsorship with an electric motorcycle for sometime late next year. That's exciting, but for now I'm trying to get a second vehicle. Now, one of the issues with living sustainably, especially when you're building like we're building here, we're spending all our money every month. I preach debt-free living, so we have debt-free living, which means we have a 0 credit score, or worse than that, an extremely low one. Credit's not an option because we haven't had any for 20 years. 20 years. And I can't take a loan against the property even if I wanted to, because there's some issues with road access and that bottom line is no bank will loan money against the property even if we were up to that, which Debbie'd never agreed to, and I don't think I'd want to do it anyway. So we have to come up with money to buy a second vehicle, a rescue vehicle if you will. There's 2 vehicles on the market whose resale value is horrible, but they're excellent cars. One of them is a Fiat 500. The other one is a smart car, gas. The smart diesels or the smart electrics don't have the range. A smart gas does. Those cars, excellent, great used ones of those can be bought for $5,000 or less. So what I want to do is I'm trying to raise $5,000. You guys have donated a lot to us. I don't want a donation, but I've got to raise $5,000. and I'd like to raise it like ASAP. So if one of you people is a hidden multimillionaire that I don't know about, and you feel like taking a chance on this guy that's trying to build an educational ranch out here, hey, $5 grand is what it's going to take for me to get a second vehicle. But if you're one of these people that says, gosh, I couldn't lay my hands on $5 grand, but how about 200? Anybody that will help and earmark something for the vehicle, I will repay you within 12 months or out of the proceeds of the book, which comes out in November, whichever comes first. But we freed up by this meet and freed up everything, where if I stop construction, not all of it, but a lot of it. If I stop a lot of it, I can part with $500 a month. So what we're going to do is I'm going to ask for $5 grand. I'll repay 6. That's a 20%. Actually, I'll pay back 6. I'll pay back 6,000. That means you get a 20% return. Give me $100. I'll pay you back 120. The little guy will probably get repaid before the great big guy, but everybody will get something every month. Or if somebody comes up with $5 grand, you'll get the lien on the vehicle in your name until the $6 grand is paid. But we got to get a new vehicle because I'm going to get stranded. Debbie is no longer able to help the way she used to. Age affects us all a little bit differently. My legs went out on me. Debbie just can't come and rescue me anymore like she could years ago. If you can help, even if you think you can help for $100, if somebody comes up with 5, I'll send the rest back. But we got to get a new car for another used car, a good, reliable used car, to back up $300K, and hopefully that's all it takes. As always, any donations for the construction are welcome. But I do have to get a replacement vehicle, and to tell you the truth, $300K doesn't have all that many more miles in it, so I have to make it last as long as I can. See what you can do. Otherwise, if you can't, we'll get by. Americans always have gotten by, no matter what your politics were, or are, or will be. Americans always get by, and I happen to be a pretty good one, so we'll get by somehow. Okay, guys, thanks a lot. See you in the next video.